My mother stole my cheap wooden necklace for money. She did not know it held $1 billion. She threw her young son away for dirty gold. My name is Leo and I am 28. Please listen to my crazy true childhood survival story. I lived in a small town called Oak Haven once. I was exactly 8 years old back then. My poor father died when I was a baby. I lived with my greedy mother named Stella. She was 28 years old and very beautiful. My old grandfather lived with us for many years. He received a small monthly pension from the government. His safe money bought our daily cheap food. He was strict and watched my mother very closely. Stella could not leave the house under his watch. Stella hated our small dirty old wooden house. She hated cooking cheap food every single day. She wanted to be a rich and powerful queen. But she needed my grandfather's safe monthly money. She secretly waited for the old man to die. He was 70 years old and incredibly kind. He gave me a very ugly cheap wooden necklace. He said it held a massive secret inside. He told me to keep it very safe forever. He said the wood held the power of trust. I loved my sweet grandfather very much. He died peacefully in his sleep one quiet night. His government pension completely stopped the next morning. Stella was finally free from his strict rules. She laughed at the stupid cheap wooden gift. A loud, bright fun fair arrived in our town. A rich old man visited the fun fair today. Stella wore a very beautiful shiny red dress. She put bright red lipstick on her smiling face. She told me we were going to play games. We walked into the loud, busy, bright fair. Stella stopped walking near a dark, quiet, large tent. She looked at a massive, expensive black car nearby. The rich man sat inside the shiny vehicle. He was 50 years old and smiling proudly. Stella looked down at my happy young face. She told me to wait right by the tent. She said she wanted to buy sweet pink candy. I nodded my small head with a big smile. Then she grabbed my cheap, ugly wooden necklace quickly. She pulled the strong string extremely hard. The string broke and she took my special gift. I cried loudly and begged her to stop immediately. She said she could sell the wood for money. She did not listen to my loud, sad cries. She walked quickly to the expensive black luxury car. She stepped inside the vehicle with the rich man. The shiny car drove away and left me alone. I was a scared 8-year-old lost boy. She stole my grandfather's secret gift for dirty money. I stood completely alone in the dark, cold night. The loud, bright fun fair finally closed its doors. The happy crowds went back to their warm homes. I walked on the dangerous, dirty street very slowly. The massive, scary city was my new dark home. I missed my quiet, warm bed in our house. I missed the smell of fresh, sweet morning bread. I cried for my sweet grandfather every single night. I hated my cruel, greedy mother with deep anger. She traded my happy young life for dirty gold. The first week on the street was pure hell. I wore my thin, cheap clothes in the cold. The freezing night wind bit my thin, pale skin. I slept under a wet bridge with wild dogs. I shook violently in the terrible, dark, freezing night. Fierce hunger became my constant daily morning pain today. My empty stomach hurt incredibly badly every single day. I looked for food in dirty, smelly garbage cans. I ate terrible old food covered in dark dirt. I drank dirty cold water from the wet street. I tried to beg for some fresh hot food. I stood outside a large, expensive, bright bakery shop. I looked at the sweet, warm bread through glass. A fat, angry man walked out of the door. He yelled loudly and chased me away very fast. He threw a hard stone at my small leg. I ran away with completely absolute pure dark terror. I fell onto the hard gray street and cried. Rich people walked past my small, tired, shaking body. They completely ignored my sad, loud, hungry, lonely cries. I was totally invisible to the busy, wealthy world. I found a small, dry piece of old bread. I sat in a dark corner to eat it. But 3 bigger homeless boys saw my small food. They ran toward me with very cruel, angry eyes. They pushed my weak body against a hard wall. They hit my face with their strong, heavy fists. I fell down and dropped my dry old bread. They stole my only food and laughed very loudly. I tasted hot red blood inside my dry mouth. I stayed on the cold ground for many hours. I felt completely hopeless and incredibly, entirely, totally weak. I wanted to die in that dark, quiet corner. But a different group of scary boys found me. They wore black jackets and looked incredibly very dangerous. They did not want my old dirty street food. They pulled my thin, weak arms very extremely roughly. They dragged me into a hidden, dirty, dark alley. I kicked and screamed for help in the dark. But nobody came to save a poor lost orphan. A massive angry man waited in the dark corner. He was the cruel boss of a street gang. He smoked a smelly cigar in the deep shadows. He looked at my small hands with cold eyes. He said my tiny hands were incredibly useful today. He forced me to join his bad criminal gang. I officially became a sad street thief right then. The angry boss gave me a daily money target. I must steal money from many rich, busy strangers. I must bring the stolen cash back to him. He promised to break my legs for any failure. I walked the crowded streets every single long day. I learned how to steal leather wallets very quietly. I felt incredibly sad and deeply guilty every time. But the deep fear kept my small hands moving. Sometimes I did not find enough dirty green money. The cruel boss became incredibly furious and very loud. He hit my small back with a heavy stick. He locked me inside a small, cold, dark room. He did not give me any warm, fresh food. I drank dirty, cold water from the wet floor. I lived in this terrible, dark hell for days. My small body was full of very painful bruises. I lost all my bright, beautiful young childhood hope. I wanted to escape this terrible, scary, dark prison. The scary older boys watched me constantly outside today. I could not run away from their cruel hands. I prayed for a sudden rescue every single night. But the street was a very cruel, cold teacher. I learned to hide in the dark, quiet shadows. I watched happy families walk together in the sun. Their bright smiles broke my sad, lonely heart completely. I was just a scared, starving, tired little boy. I must steal daily to survive another painful night. But my young heart remained completely pure and honest. I remembered my grandfather and his sweet, kind words. He told me to always keep a good soul. I promised him to be a brave, strong boy. I wiped my sad tears and stood up slowly. Tomorrow I will steal a very important small bag. It was a very sunny and bright Tuesday morning. The cruel boss pushed me onto the busy street. I needed to steal $50 before the sunset. I saw a tall, noble man walking very slowly. He wore an expensive gray suit and shiny shoes. He looked incredibly rich but very sad and tired. I walked closely behind him in the large crowd. I reached my small hand into his coat pocket. I pulled out a small black soft leather bag. I ran into a quiet, empty alley very fast. I opened the small bag with shaking cold hands. I expected to find many thick green dollar bills. But the small bag did not contain any money. I found a beautiful shiny silver necklace inside it. I also found an old, slightly torn color photo. The photo showed a happy young boy my age. He had a very bright and sweet, warm smile. I turned the small photo over with dirty fingers. Someone wrote 3 sad words on the white back. The blue ink spelled the words, "I miss you." My young heart felt a sudden, deep, sharp pain. I remembered my cruel mother leaving me completely alone. I knew the terrible pain of absolute deep loss. This noble man missed his sweet young boy dearly. I could not give this bag to the boss. The bad boss would sell the silver necklace immediately. He would throw the precious photo into the garbage. A huge, scary war started inside my young mind. If I return empty-handed, I will face pain. The cruel boss will beat me with his stick. He will lock me in the dark, cold room. I will starve in the terrible, scary, dark prison. My whole body shook with absolute, pure, dark terror. But I remembered my grandfather and his kind soul. He taught me to be a good, honest boy. I decided to be completely brave for one day. I walked back to the busy, bright main street. I searched for the tall, sad, noble, rich man. He searched his empty coat pockets with shaking hands. Tears of pure panic filled his sad old eyes. He searched for his missing treasure absolutely everywhere today. I walked toward him with my head held low. I pulled his soft coat sleeve very incredibly gently. He looked down at my dirty, bruised, pale face. I held out his small black soft leather bag. I gave the precious bag back to his hands. I whispered a very quiet and sincere small apology. I prepared to run away from his angry reaction. But he knelt down on the hard gray street. He looked at me with incredibly wide, surprised eyes. The kind noble man looked at my dirty hands. He gently took the small black leather bag today. He saw the terrible dark bruises on my face. He saw my incredibly thin and very weak body. He did not yell or call the local police. He spoke with a very soft and kind voice. He asked me about my terrible dark street life. I expected a loud, angry, and very violent reaction. But his warm brown eyes were full of pity. He gently held my shaking, cold, dirty, small hand. He walked me to a small, warm, quiet restaurant. The restaurant had beautiful, bright lights and soft music. He ordered hot, sweet soup and fresh baked bread. The wonderful smell made my empty stomach hurt happily. I ate the warm food very incredibly entirely fast. He watched me eat with a sad, gentle smile. He ordered a large piece of sweet chocolate cake. I tasted the sweet sugar for the first time. Warm tears suddenly fell down my dirty, pale face. I cried loudly in the quiet, small, warm restaurant. The kind man gave me a clean white tissue. I told him my incredibly sad and dark story. I told him about my cruel, greedy mother Stella. I explained the terrible, loud, bright funfair day. I described the scary, dark, cold, dangerous city streets. I told him about the cruel, angry street boss. I explained the terrible pain and the daily hunger. The rich man listened to my sad, dark words. He did not judge my bad street thief actions. Hot tears filled his sad, tired, old brown eyes. He opened the small, black, soft leather bag again. He showed me the photo of the young boy. He touched the smiling face with shaking old fingers. He told me his own incredibly dark, sad story. His young son died in a terrible car accident. The bad car crash happened exactly 2 years ago. The dark tragedy broke his warm, kind heart completely. He lost his beautiful, bright, happy family that day. He lived alone in a massive, quiet, dark house. The shiny silver necklace belonged to his dead son. It was his only precious, warm memory of love. We shared a very deep and true dark pain. We were two broken souls in a cold world. I lost my mother to a greedy, shiny dream. He lost his son to a dark, cruel tragedy. We cried together in the warm, small, quiet restaurant. He wiped his wet eyes and made a decision. He promised to protect me from the cruel boss. He said I would never sleep outside again tonight. He offered me a completely new, safe, happy home. He held my small, dirty hand very incredibly tightly. I felt truly safe for the first time ever. A beautiful new chapter started in my young life. The dark street hell was finally completely over today. My pure, honest heart saved my life right then. The kind, noble man was a master jewelry maker. His name was Arthur, and he was very wealthy. He took me to his massive, beautiful, quiet house. He officially adopted me as his true legal son. I finally had a completely safe and warm home. Arthur taught me the beautiful art of jewelry making. I spent many years in his bright, quiet workshop. I touched many shiny, expensive diamonds and bright rubies. I learned to identify perfect stones with my hands. My small hands became incredibly smart and extremely skillful. I grew into a very tall and smart man. I became a famous expert in precious, expensive stones. I loved my new, quiet, happy, and peaceful life. But I never forgot my old, poor, sweet grandfather. I thought about his ugly, cheap wooden necklace constantly. My grandfather told me a magical story long ago. He saved a rich foreign prince from a dark fire. The young prince gave him an incredibly massive reward. But my wise grandfather knew the danger of wealth. A poor man cannot carry a bright, shiny diamond. Greedy, bad people will definitely kill for the treasure. So he hid the precious reward inside ugly wood. He told me the wood held absolute true trust. He wanted me to open it as an adult. He wanted me to understand true value and love. I finally understood his wise, magical secret lesson today. My deep jewelry knowledge revealed the absolute crazy truth. The cheap wooden necklace contained a completely real treasure. It held a massive, perfect, incredibly rare red diamond. It was the most expensive precious stone on earth. The beautiful red diamond was worth exactly 1 billion. My grandfather gave me an absolute massive secret fortune. But my cruel, greedy mother stole it from me. She stole the billion-dollar diamond for cheap money. She thought it was just a simple wooden toy. She left me in the loud fun fair alone. She chased a rich old man for his money. She literally threw a massive $1 billion completely away. The dark irony made me laugh incredibly very loudly. She was the most stupid, greedy woman on earth. I wanted to see her greedy, ugly face again. I wanted to see her reaction to the truth. I started a massive, secret, powerful diamond business immediately. I hid my true real name and my face. I became a completely unknown, mysterious foreign diamond boss. I waited very patiently for the perfect dark moment. I built my massive, strong business empire very carefully. I made billions of dollars with my smart brain. 20 long years passed since that terrible cold night. My cruel mother will face her worst nightmare soon. The perfect sweet revenge is finally coming very soon. I will destroy her fake shiny golden world completely. She will pay for my dark, sad, cold childhood. She will pay for stealing my grandfather's special gift. My beautiful trap is completely ready for the queen. 20 long years passed very quickly in the city. My cruel mother Stella lived a completely different life. She was 48 years old and incredibly rich. She married the old rich man from the fair. She used his massive wealth to build her empire. Stella was the famous queen of the jewelry world. She owned the biggest shiny diamond company on earth. She wore the most expensive, beautiful dresses every day. She lived in a giant, bright, warm, luxury mansion. She completely forgot her sad, poor, young, hungry son. She attended many expensive, rich parties in the city. She smiled brightly for the famous, busy newspaper cameras. She looked like a perfectly happy and successful woman. But her cold, empty heart was totally, incredibly greedy. She always wanted more bright, shiny money and power. But Stella had a very strange and crazy habit. She always wore a very cheap, ugly wooden necklace. She wore it next to her massive, shiny diamonds. The dirty old wood looked completely wrong and stupid. Many rich friends asked her about the ugly wood. Stella always smiled a very proud and confident smile. She said the wooden necklace was her lucky charm. She claimed it brought her absolute massive total success. She believed the wood gave her the great fortune. She never took the cheap, ugly wooden necklace off. She thought she made a brilliant, smart choice yesterday. She thought leaving her son was a wonderful idea. She thought the stolen would change her poor life. She did not know the absolute massive crazy truth. The wood did not bring her any magic luck. She actually wore $1 billion on her neck. She carried the massive perfect red diamond every day. But she was completely blind to its true value. She thought it was just a cheap lucky toy. Her absolute crazy blind ignorance was incredibly very funny. I watched her foolish actions from the dark shadows. I read the daily newspaper articles about her company. I knew her massive jewelry empire was actually weak. She spent too much money on fake shiny things. She was secretly drowning in massive deep bank debt. Her greedy nature will destroy her completely very soon. She always searched for a fast, cheap, easy shortcut. I prepared a beautiful, dangerous trap for the queen. I waited for her to make a huge mistake. Her massive, dirty greed will be her final downfall. I hired completely secret, smart spies to watch her. They reported her bad daily actions to my office. The bright, shiny golden throne will break very soon. She will lose her giant company and her money. I will watch her entire fake empire completely burn. The unknown foreign diamond boss is ready to strike. The next chapter will reveal her biggest stupid mistake. She will fall from her high rich mountain soon. My perfect sweet revenge is entirely ready for her. She will absolutely pay for the dark cold street. Stella always wanted more fast dirty money. Her massive company needed a quick cash rescue. She made a completely terrible and illegal choice. She bought a massive box of fake diamonds. She sold the cheap glass to rich buyers. She charged them massive real diamond prices. This was a very huge, dangerous criminal secret. But I knew about her fake diamond trick. My secret spies found her hidden illegal papers. I sent the solid proof to the newspapers. The loud morning news shocked the whole city. The famous jewelry queen was a dirty liar. Her rich, angry customers demanded their money back. The company's stock price fell down incredibly fast. The big banks closed her massive business accounts. They refused to give her any new loans. Her fake shiny empire burned in one day. Stella panicked in her giant, quiet luxury mansion. She faced absolute, complete, dark, total ruin today. The local police started a massive criminal investigation. She could go to a dark, cold prison. She needed $50 million to survive this. She needed cash to pay the angry customers. But nobody wanted to help a dirty thief. All her rich fake friends ignored her calls. Her old husband was very sick and weak. He could not save her falling, broken company. She was completely alone in the dark storm. She needed a very fast and powerful miracle. She heard about a mysterious foreign diamond boss. People said he had massive, unlimited dark wealth. They said he could save any dying business. But his secret loans were incredibly very dangerous. Stella was completely desperate and extremely very scared. She had absolutely zero safe, normal choices left. She packed her expensive bags very incredibly fast. She traveled to my large, dark, quiet building. She wanted to beg for my secret money. She walked right into my perfect dark trap. I waited in my large, expensive, quiet office. I wore a completely black, sharp designer suit. I wore dark glasses to hide my eyes. I changed my voice to sound very deep. The cruel, greedy mother will meet her son. She walked through my heavy wooden office doors. She looked incredibly old and very deeply tired. Her shiny fake golden crown was completely broken. She did not recognize her lost little boy. I smiled a very cold and dark smile. The massive final game is completely ready now. She will pay for the scary cold street. She will pay for my broken young heart. Please listen to our very strange dark meeting. The dark room was completely silent and cold. She stood before my large, heavy wooden desk. She wore the ugly wooden necklace right now. My sweet grandfather's gift was finally very close. I will take my precious treasure back today. Stella stood before my desk with shaking legs. She looked at my dark glasses with fear. I did not offer her a warm chair. She stood like a beggar in the dark. She held her expensive leather bag very tightly. Please help my dying company, she begged loudly. I need exactly $50 million today, Stella said. The angry banks will take my entire mansion. The local police will arrest me very soon. I will pay you back with massive interest. Her voice sounded completely broken and very weak. I looked at her greedy, pale old face. I remembered the loud, busy, bright fun fair. I remembered the dirty, dark, cold street alley. I remembered the cruel gang boss hitting me. She caused all my terrible, dark childhood pain. She abandoned me at the scary town fair. She chose a rich man over my love. Now she was begging me for dirty money. The universe has a very dark, funny humor. I kept my deep voice completely, totally calm. Your jewelry company is completely broken, I stated. You sold cheap fake glass to rich people. Your business name is completely dirty and ruined. Why should I give you my clean money? I asked her with a cold, hard tone. Stella cried real tears of pure dark panic. I will give you my massive luxury mansion. I will give you my expensive fast cars. I will give you my entire business shares. Please just save me from the dark prison. She was willing to lose absolutely everything today. She just wanted to save her own life. She was still a completely selfish, greedy woman. She did not care about her innocent workers. She only cared about her own safe freedom. I leaned forward in my large leather chair. I looked directly at her cheap wooden necklace. It rested next to her shiny fake diamonds. The ugly wood looked completely dirty and old, but it held my grandfather's absolute massive secret. I do not want your massive empty mansion. I do not want your stupid fast cars. I do not want your broken dirty company. I spoke very slowly in the quiet room. Stella looked incredibly confused and very deeply shocked. Then what do you want? She whispered softly. I will give you anything you want today. I smiled a very cold and dark smile. The final crazy deal is completely ready now. I will make my very strange weird demand. You will hear my crazy condition very soon. She will make her final biggest stupid mistake. She will lose her entire fake shiny world. The dark revenge is absolutely perfectly ready today. My grandfather's precious treasure will return to me. I will open the cheap wood very soon. I pointed my finger at her old neck. I want that cheap wooden necklace, I demanded. I will give you 50 million for it. Stella looked at me with incredibly wide eyes. She touched the ugly wood with shaking hands. This old dirty wooden thing, she asked loudly. It is just a very cheap ugly toy. It has absolutely zero real financial value today. Why do you want this stupid dirty wood? She was completely confused by my strange words. That is none of your business, I replied. Do we have a solid deal or not? Give me the wood and take the money. Or you can go to a dark prison. I gave her a very simple absolute choice. Stella looked at the ugly wood very quietly. She always believed it was her lucky charm. She wore it for 20 incredibly long years. But she was a completely greedy, selfish woman. She needed the massive money to survive today. $50 million was a massive, huge fortune. She thought I was completely crazy and stupid. She thought I was a rich, foolish man. She decided to trick the crazy diamond boss. She laughed a very quiet, greedy, dark laugh. You have a very strange, weird taste today. Stella smiled and touched her fake shiny diamonds. But I accept your very generous, crazy offer. I will sell you this lucky wooden necklace. She agreed to my absolutely brilliant dark trap. I pushed a thick paper across my desk. It was a very official legal sale contract. It stated she sold the wood to me. It stated the price was $50 million. I handed her a heavy, expensive black pen. Stella did not read the legal contract carefully. She was too incredibly desperate and very greedy. She just wanted the massive clean bank money. She took the heavy pen with fast hands. She prepared to sign her real name quickly. She did not know the absolute massive truth. She was selling a perfect rare red diamond. She was selling a completely real $1 billion. She was losing her grandfather's massive secret fortune. She was making the worst mistake on earth. She took off the cheap, ugly wooden necklace. She threw it on my large wooden desk. The ugly wood hit the desk very loudly. My sweet grandfather's gift was finally completely mine. She signed the contract with a proud smile. She thought she won the big corporate game. She thought she saved her fake jewelry empire. But the absolute true nightmare is just starting. I will break the ugly wood very soon. I will reveal my true lost name today. She will cry tears of pure deep blood. She will lose her fake golden shiny throne. The final crazy chapter is coming very soon. She smiled proudly at the signed legal paper today. She thought she won the massive corporate game completely. I took the cheap ugly wooden necklace very slowly. I placed it on my heavy solid dark desk. I took a small heavy steel hammer out quietly. Stella looked at the small hammer with deep confusion. She asked me about my strange, sudden weird action. I did not answer her silly, greedy, stupid questions. I raised the heavy steel hammer in the air. I hit the cheap, ugly wood incredibly very hard. The old dry wood broke into many small pieces. A massive bright light filled the dark, quiet room. A perfect giant red diamond sat on the desk. It sparkled with pure, beautiful, bright, magical hot fire. Stella gasped loudly and stood up from her chair. Her greedy eyes stared at the giant red stone. She realized the absolute crazy massive truth right then. She wore $1 billion on her neck forever. But she sold it for 50 million cheap dollars. She traded a massive real fortune for pocket change. I took off my dark glasses very incredibly slowly. I looked directly into her shocked, pale old face. I called her by her true real name today. I said hello to my cruel, greedy mother Stella. I told her my real birth name was Leo. Stella screamed a loud, terrible cry of pure horror. The lost boy from the fun fair returned today. The street orphan was the wealthy foreign diamond boss. She fell down onto the hard, cold floor immediately. Her shaking hands touched her pale, wet, crying face. I told her about the dark, cold, dangerous street. I told her about the cruel, bad street gang. I told her about my daily hunger and pain. She cried hot tears of absolute pure dark regret. She begged for my completely warm, soft, sweet forgiveness. But my cold heart was completely closed to her. I pushed a small button on my wooden desk. Loud police sirens cried outside my large dark building. The local police ran into my quiet large office. They arrested Stella for her massive fake diamond crimes. The police officers put heavy metal handcuffs on her. They pulled her up from the hard, cold floor. She screamed and begged me to save her life. She looked at the giant, beautiful red diamond again. She finally understood the incredible, massive cost of greed. They dragged her away to a dark, cold prison. I watched her leave with a perfectly calm face. I picked up my grandfather's massive, precious red diamond. I finally avenged my painful lost childhood completely today. The broken street boy won the biggest game forever.